Hi, and welcome to Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib. I'm Dan Hawk, alongside head coach Josh Blankenship. Let's dive in right with our win over Enid. Coach, fall break, having to travel on the road, so many variables going along with this one. I know you kind of deal with fall break every year, but traveling on the road is never easy. First off, thoughts on the team overall making the trip?
Like you said, there's a lot of variables there. Anytime you travel, as a coach, you're paranoid about all the details, and then a longer trip, as opposed to just hopping over to one of the other suburban schools. So a long trip, middle of fall break. So they went Wednesday. Really, a lot of them didn't even have school on Tuesday because it was a testing day over here at the high school. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, no school. We got them up early on Friday and fed them a good breakfast, get them up, get them moving, get some food in their bellies. Then we had a walkthrough around 1 o'clock, and then got on the bus. Guys traveled really well. They're really growing up in a lot of areas, and so watching them operate the way we want them to operate on the little bitty things that they don't probably think impact a game are a big deal to me. So seeing the growth there has been huge.
When it is fall break, I kind of want to dive in on this a little bit. You don't see them, unless they reach out to you, I'm assuming. When you get back in together, how locked in are they right out of the gate once you see them?
Depends on the group. If they're doing things off the field they shouldn't be doing, you might have a little bit of other distractions that are in the middle of it. This group's been great. Some of them coming in a little early to get some extra film in, knowing that their coaches aren't teaching class that day. Coaches actually, if they don't have any commitments with the kids already set up, then, they got times with their family. Or time with their families. So there's a lot of things going on, but the kids showed up last week every day for practice, ready to go. And, with all the possible distractions that were at play, they seem to block them out really well.
Now let's dive into the game. Cooper Bates, 16 of 18, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, and you kind of gave me a nugget before the game that he was going to play at safety. Is there a position he can't play? And then, he just becomes even better and better, and he's picking it up right when you really need him down this stretch.
Man, he's a special, special young guy. I've known that for a long time, but watching him really hone his craft at football has been fun this year. Easily his best game that he's played at quarterback since he's been here, or since I've been with him. He was very efficient, understood the game plan of what we were doing, and understood what they were doing on defense, which was kind of a hairy scheme that they ran. And you can get caught up in all the eye candy, bells and whistles, and he was able to dial in on his keys and reads and was very, very effective. And then you add in that element of going over there and contributing on the back end on defense. He's been asking to do that. He did it a lot as a sophomore. And then last year when he kind of started transitioning to quarterback and a lot of offensive play, that got minimized a little bit. But he's a difference maker in any capacity, whether he's punting the football, whether he's playing safety, and then obviously when he's playing quarterback. So he's very special. It's the reason he's a captain. He's led that class for a long, long time, and you can see why.
How about Caleb Barnett? 12 receptions, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns, finally coming into his own. I know he's been nicked up a little bit throughout the course of this year and hasn't been able to get the engine going, but it seems like it's on full throttle now.
It certainly was, last week against Enid. Two primary factors, maybe 3. Him being healthy and back. He had been out for 2 weeks. Him being back and being a part of a game plan changes things because he's dynamic. Coop playing really, really well and being able to find him in the appropriate windows and then throwing the ball really, really well on Friday night was huge. The other piece that kind of gets lost is Tayshawn Wade coming on the last several weeks. Now actually adds a legitimate threat at receiver in addition to Caleb. When you've got another guy that has turned into a very dynamic player as well, they can't just hone in on Caleb. He's little. He's hard to target. He's hard to hit. So when they want to do things scheme-wise to just take away Caleb and there's no other threat, that's tough. So when you got Tayshawn coming on like he is, defenses are aware of him and at a minimum aware, if not concerned, and that balances things up for getting Caleb the ball as well.
Outside of Linemen, it seems like kickers never get any love either, but Hunter Martins has become pretty special for you. kind of a go-to guy. I know he missed one, but overall, he's been playing solid football down this stretch.
He's had a great year, and he's handled my distaste for for kickers really really patiently. So we've got a system where, if you miss one, and honestly the one he missed was probably on the snap and the hold, to be honest with you. But he knows the system. If you miss one, the other guy goes in and Irvine's the other one, and they will alternate back and forth. Irvine's probably a little bit better kicking the ball off, and Hunter's a little bit more accurate on his field goals and PATs. But he's done a phenomenal job, and really, I'm as silly as it sounds, he's handled me really, really well.
It's a position that kind of gets overlooked, other than in the crucial moment. When you see them at practice, how dialed in are they? Because they're by themselves on an island every day.
We've pushed them throughout the year to be working another position. Obviously, once we're into the season, it's a little different. So they are kind of on their own, working their craft. They're like a golfer. They're like a pitcher. They're unique. You kind of leave them alone. You try not to overcoach them because everybody's got an opinion on how to kick the ball. But they are one of those positions, a lot like offensive line, a lot like corner, maybe even safety, that you usually don't know that they're out there until they mess up. You have an expectation that it's supposed to be a rhythm, like shooting a free throw, something that's just automatic. But there's a lot of work that goes into it, and he's been committed to that for a long time.
Coach, let's take a quick breather on Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib. We'll come up on the other side discussing all things defense with the win over Enid. Stay with us.
Tulsa Bone and Joint, Northeast Oklahoma's sports medicine experts. We are pleased to help you and the athletes in your life with a number of surgical and non-surgical options. Tulsa Bone and Joint is proud to serve as team orthopedist for local high schools such as Broken Arrow, Owasso, Sapulpa, Cascia Hall, and Bishop Kelly. We're also proud to be team orthopedist for FC Tulsa. Tulsa Bone and Joint, moving life forward.
Your side hustle keeps you moving. We'll help you get where you really want to go. TTCU Federal Credit Union. Life is better in balance.
And welcome back to Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib. I'm Dan Hawk, alongside head coach Josh Blankenship. Coach, break down this defensive performance, because on the running game, they only had 124 yards. So it seems like you guys just crashed them, and they had no opportunity to get any sort of movement on the run game.
We've been pretty good against the run for the most part this year. At least we've been progressing and getting better and better and better every week. This, again, was a unique team, a unique plan, scheme that they have. They really like to spread you out. They've got about 3 quarterbacks that they've been playing, and the 2 that we probably prepared for the most didn't even play until the end of the game. So the guy that played was really not a guy that we had on our radar as much as the other guys. And they clearly came out with an intent to shorten the game. They were taking their time between snaps, milking the clock, and then they got a couple of first downs early, and we were fortunate enough to force an interception early and then go put points on the board. Defense just continues to progress, and they've had, along with everybody, offense and special teams, it seems like there's been a different lineup every week because of injuries and illness and all kinds of issues. So especially defensively, coming together and finding that chemistry of 11 guys playing together has been a challenge. But that box has been pretty consistent as far as rotation and personnel. So them producing against the run game is the expectation at this point. A lot of young guys still playing, but we're going into week 9 here. So those young guys, we don't treat like young guys anymore. There's a higher standard.
Yeah, Bennett Percival, 12 of 27, 2 interceptions. It was a guy that I didn't even have on the radar that he was going to start. When you see that all week you've been prepping for one guy, and then they pull a switch. I know you always got to be be prepared, but how do you flip the script that quickly with your boys?
There was no panic, and they really didn't adjust their scheme tremendously with the new guy. So it was more curiosity, like what are they getting ready to do? What is in their bag of tricks here? And so you're on alert. But they, for the most part, stuck with their game plan. I think he was a little bit maybe more effective of pulling it down and going when he didn't like what he saw. He was a little bit more of a physical runner than maybe the other guy that went in at the end of the game. He, not knocking the guy, but he had a tendency to, on film, to slide really early, really avoid contact. And this guy seems a little bit more eager to go get what he can get. And I don't know if that played into their run the ball, shorten the game type of plan. So Fortunately, there wasn't a whole lot of new stuff that we had to adjust to and adapt to. It was pretty much the game plan we had prepared for.
I know we touched on him on the offense with Cooper Bates, but he was telling you he wanted to play some defense, playing some safety. Gets an interception. Where were you when he caught the ball, and then when you saw him pick it off? What's running through your mind?
I was back behind, from the defensive side, watching almost like a safety, from the sideline. It wasn't watching Coop other than pre-snap. Was he getting where he was supposed to be alignment-wise? He was where he was supposed to be, so then I was watching the play. They'd been running a bunch of fast screen RPOs, and they ran a little RPO and go, which a lot of people have gotten us on because we've been over-aggressive on stopping those things. And then, then they get two, putting a stretch on your one guy over there. So we had that. I think I said, "Oh crap," or something to that effect when I saw that it was a double move. And then in my periph, as I'm watching that on their far sideline, I see Coop drifting over to the hash. And as the ball's in the air, obviously he makes a play, picks it off. And as much as we want to celebrate, I'm trying to get him over to call the play because he's got to go in at quarterback now. So it was awesome to see. Immediate spark from him and Cabry Harris playing safety as well. Those guys are natural. Cabry, we've been wanting to do that for a long time. We've been talking about it for a long time, and we were trying to hold off as long as possible, ideally closer to the playoffs where we are now. But we also needed Octavian had been out for a couple weeks. We needed that depth back at running back, so we weren't just taking our one true starter over at safety full-time as well. So with Octavian back and Levi healthy and Deshaun Caldwell over there ready to give some reps at running back, that frees us up a little bit to get Cabry in the secondary.
I think it comes down to his work in the weight room and everything that's done in the offseason, because to play the amount of minutes that he's doing, picking an interception and then going back to quarterback, I got to give a lot of credit to your strength coaches to get him ready for a situation like this.
We have a phenomenal strength staff, and they do a great job. The guys that show up are ready to go, and that's the majority of them. So Coop's no exception. I will tell you the secret to Coop is his competitive will. I mean, his heart, his toughness. Plays baseball. He's really good baseball player as well. Competes year round. I mean, you can't take the competitive aspect out of that also. I mean, yes, he's got to be physically ready to go, but it's inside of him is what makes him go. I
would be remiss if I didn't ask you about Jaime Murillo's performance again. Every week it seems like he's coming up on our coach's show just because of his performance. I mean, where's his ceiling? Have we even reached it yet?
I don't think so. I mean, this is his first real year to get steady action as a varsity player. We thought he was starting to blossom a little bit last year as a junior physically. And then his offseason, he just exploded with a different style of competitiveness, toughness. And then it morphed into leadership, and that was the part I was most excited about. When Condrey went down, I had some conversations with Murillo about this is going to be your defense at this point. So take it and run with it and lead him. He's done an unbelievable job. He's that steady mainstay. I think he just went over 100 tackles in that game. So he's exactly what we've needed right there at linebacker.
Well, Coach, let's take a quick timeout. We'll visit with James Estes, right guard, along with right tackle Kane Wilbur, as we have more on Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib.
For families who like to build their wealth while staying liquid, we have flexible rate CDs to keep your funds working hard, even when you're not. First National Bank of Broken Arrow. The right balance.
At Ascension St. John, you'll find advanced heart care, brain and spine care, and personalized cancer care. And we excel just as much in the things that can't be measured. Listening more closely, caring more compassionately.
Hi, welcome back to Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib. I'm joined now by two of my favorite linemen, James Estes and Kane Wilbur, right tackle as well as right guard. Guys, how you doing?
Doing pretty good today. How about you?
I'm doing good as well.
Not bad, not bad. All right, let's first start off with the linemen, because you guys never get any love. It's always the running back, the quarterback, the receivers. You guys got to create your own energy. What is it like being a lineman? We'll start with you, James.
It's pretty fun. We have a great time, always, we talk about food a lot, We have very entertaining.
What lineman does not like food?
I don't know. Not a true one.
Not a true one. Okay, let's start off with that then. Break down the normal diet for you guys when it is football season. Tell me how many carbs you're eating and how much food you're eating.
I try not to count the carbs. It would make me sad. But I mean, we eat a lot. You know, we're big guys. You know, some guys they start out a little underweight, so you know they gotta bulk up to play O-line. So
at my age, 37, if I ate a large pizza, I'd be crying the next morning.
Right.
Is that just a snack for the two of you?
I mean that can comprise of like a dinner. You know, it's a pizza.
What about you, James?
I think I could. Yeah, that's about a small dinner, you know.
Small dinner.
That and probably a side of wings as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I know football is everything for you guys, but you guys both have aspirations outside the game of football. So we'll start off with you, James. What do you want to do when you're not playing football when you get older?
I'd like to get a job in engineering and then have like a side thing for like photography and stuff, you know.
No way. What kind of photography do you want to do?
Mainly nature, but also like cars and stuff.
Do you already take photos now?
Yeah, I take a little bit. I'm like an amateur.
Where can we check all these out if we wanted to see some of your work?
I haven't posted any. I'm still like figuring out the editing stuff and all that, so I'm still getting started on it.
And what about you?
After football's over, I want to go to school for business and want to get a job in that field and just pursue my career and start a family and all that. So
now, business is such a wide range. Do you have ideas to what you want to do in the business world?
Just some like a higher up position, like management or something like that. Because like my dad, he's a service manager at his company, and I really admire what he's done, the way he's worked up to get there. So I want to be in a position like that when I'm older.
Now, for you, when you're on the line, I mean, we kind of talked about it before we started today, but you wear glasses when you're not playing. But have you ever thought about intimidating the opponent by wearing glasses on the field?
No, so I wore glasses when I started playing football for 1 year in fourth grade, and they fell out a bunch. And in pictures, I look like a goober with the glasses and the helmet. So after that, I got contacts, and so now that's what I wear, and it works well. So
now, James, Kane was telling me he's the funny guy at the group.
Yep.
Does he live up to that hype?
Yes, he does.
Break it down for me on how he's such a funny old lineman.
I don't know how to break it down. It's just the stuff he says. It's just randomly, it's just hilarious for some reason.
Is it kind of like going back where like, hey, you were late for the coach's show today and just messing with you type thing, and you're all stressed out thinking you weren't going to be on time?
Kind of, and it's just like, he says a lot of stupid stuff. Not gonna lie. I mean, it's funny. I mean,
I'm a funny guy.
Yeah, you're hilarious.
So you can see potentially stand-up comedy in his near future down the line?
Maybe. I think he might have a chance of that.
What is it like playing for this team on the offensive line? You guys got some dynamic weapons out of receiver, running back. I mean, Cooper Bates is now playing safety. I mean, the man plays everything. But you're defending all of it. I mean, walk me through it. Break it down as a football player. What's it like to be an offensive line? We'll start with you, James, and we'll follow up with you, Kane.
It's very demanding, especially with your knees and stuff. We have to wear knee braces, and then it's just we have a great coach. He's amazing. He knows what he's talking about, and he's just great at coaching.
For you, there's a lot of plays that you got to run through your head, and they switch just like that.
Yeah.
Get it all out of your head and transform it to your feet and arms and everything else.
Just reps, just doing it in practice a lot. And, Coach Pruitt has done, a great job getting us ready. And, he says I think we try to make things simple for the O-line, so we don't have to know everyone else's job like a quarterback might. We know what we're doing, and we're comfortable with that. So that's what we focus on.
It seems like linemen, they've become even closer, and I think it goes back to the fact that you guys are blocking all the time, and usually the coaches that coach you guys are former players that played that position as well. What's the bond like for you with Coach Pruitt?
Coach Pruitt, I mean, he's been a huge part of my life, since I was a sophomore now. So, when we all got here, we're all young sophomores, we all, we're not experienced being like a varsity football player yet, and he's just been, far and away the best coach, I've ever had. He's taken me so far, and I'm not only as a football player, but as just like a person too. Like I've matured so much since, I was 15, so I just think he's done an excellent job.
What about for you, James?
I agree. He's just been such a great mentor and just helped guide me and I'd say the whole line into being better people and just doing better things.
We're inching closer to the final portion of the season. You guys both coming to the end of your guys' career with Broken Arrow football. What does that mean to you to play football for the Tigers?
I mean, I've been playing for BA since I was 9, so it means a lot to me to be able to rep that at the highest level of football we have. And sometimes I wear like stuff like this out in public, and people notice like, oh, you play football for the high school, and it means a lot to me that this portion of my life is something I'll get to tell like my children about. You know what I mean? That like I played football for BA. That means a lot to me.
What about you, James?
It means a lot for me as well. I grew up here in Broken Arrow. I was born here. I've been playing since first grade, flag football all the way up, and it's just I feel real honored to play for this team.
Break it down. Jinx is this week. It's kind of the same thing where you've known each other since you guys were little. Maybe not name for name, but you face these guys. What's it like playing Jinx? Let's start with Jinx.
It's very interesting because some of our teammates went over, so there's a lot of personal stuff going on, but I think we're gonna win. I think we have the better just overall team and better game plan. So
I think it's going to be, obviously with, some of the stuff that's gone on behind the scenes, it's always a heated rivalry, since, I was young, it just kind of comes with, playing for BA is that you just don't like the guys over in Jinx. So, you always want to win that one. And I think, we're going to focus on us and we're going to do, our job. So
now I'm going to end it with a food question one more time. If I put 2 pizzas in front of you, who could eat the 2 pizzas?
Like both pizzas?
Both pizzas. Let's say 2 mediums.
Okay, 2 medium pizzas.
Could you pound it down?
Oh, I could absolutely.
Yeah, I could definitely do that.
Could you finish it up with a side of wings as well?
I think that's where I would struggle.
Yeah, same.
But just the 2 pieces on their own, I could throw it down.
Well, guys, I appreciate you stopping by on Inside Tiger Football. That is James Estes along with Kane Wilbur, 2 of our favorite offensive linemen. Coming up next, we'll have more with head coach Josh Blankenship on Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rip.
Life happens in a hurry. Our money experts will help you keep up. T2CU Federal Credit Union. Life is better in balance.
At Ascension St. John, you'll find advanced heart care, brain and spine care, and personalized cancer care. And we excel just as much in the things that can't be measured. Listening more closely, caring more compassionately.
And welcome back to Inside Tiger Football, brought to you by Rib Crib. I'm Dan Hawk, alongside head coach Josh Blankenship. We broke down the player segment as well as discussing Enid. It's now time to move on with Jinx. You know some of these players on this team because they used to play for Broken Arrow, but what do you see on tape that Jinx presents some havoc for you?
Typical Jinx, really good on defense. They want to run the ball, and now they've got a quarterback that can spin it, and so they want to spread you out as well, try to find some favorable matchups for them. They want to move their running back around, who's dynamic, as we know. So he could be as good of a receiver as he is tailback. So they'll do some things and try to find some movement, some empty packages, some shifts and motions to try to get matchups for him where he can try to exploit what we're doing. But they're going to go as their defense goes. That's always been their MO. Coach Gaylor over there, who's also got some Broken Arrow ties, he does a great job, and they're very sound in what they do. They're very physical. They run to the football really well, and very well coached. So they'll have a great plan, and we'll see how we can match up with it.
With the landscape of high school football kind of trickling down from the college level with players going to different schools, I mean, this is going to be a common occurrence, the way we see high school football moving forward. But when you break down Owen Jones, who used to be quarterback here, what do you see him differently than when you had him here in your lineup?
Well, I don't break him down, to be honest with you. It's more of a scheme thing. We'll talk about personnel strengths and weaknesses, but when you're doing that, you're looking for somebody that's going to be a problem or that you need to game plan for, or somebody that honestly that you can exploit and game plan for. He doesn't fall into that category either way. So it's a scheme thing. You're looking at tendencies about what they do best, how often they do it, where they do it, and then it's about stopping that and defending that. And then, the flip side is true as well. You're looking for things offensively that suit what we do well and maybe take advantage of things that they don't do as well. But spending time what their quarterback is good at, not good at. It might come up in a couple of mentions, but it's not the focal point.
Because it's Jinx, I mean, this is the big five in the group of the teams that are in the area. What does this rivalry game mean? And adding in the mix that it's senior night as well.
I think it's a big deal to the kids. These rivalries, I think, are enhanced because they know each other so well. They're not strangers. They go to church with each other. They do things off the field with one another, and we see them year round. I mean, football is year round. From spring to team camp to 7-on-7 to passing league tournaments to, I mean, you name it, and we see those guys everywhere. So they all know each other. It's the familiarity, I think. You add the social media, all the trash talking, all the chatter, and it just adds to it. But I think the biggest thing is we're playing at home. We're trying to make a run here at the end of the season. We're trying to solidify a playoff seed, and we're trying to be at a position where we're playing our best football right now. And last week was a great week for us on Friday night. The last 3 to 4 weeks have been really good weeks for us in practice. So we're seeing what we need to see. Now it's a matter of going out and doing it, and the guys feel the urgency to go get that done.
Aiden Christensen, a couple touchdowns in their last game. He can be a threat out on the edge, but what else do you see out of their receiving corps?
He's the main one that gets your attention. He carved us up at the end of the game, I believe, last year. Had been kind of quiet, and then they had a run there and kind of a 1-minute offense type of situation where I think he was kind of the key spark for them. He's dynamic. Obviously, similar situation for us is they kind of know their explosive guy, and then they know the other guy that allows, the explosiveness to be respected. When I was mentioning Tayshawn and Caleb and that dynamic. So a little similarity there. But yeah, they've got good players all over the field, and we do too.
Keith Riggs, a long mainstay in the Allen Trimble tree, and he got into coaching after working on computers, from what I gathered from him when I was still at News on 6. But his knowledge of football is very high. What kind of teams does he present when you have to face a Keith Riggs team?
Traditional Jinx. I think he's still cut from the Coach Trimble cloth. I mean, it's they want to play great defense and run the football, and they want to manage the clock. I think they're very analytically driven. If they can average this many yards a carry in a game, they believe they're going to win the game. If they can hold the offense to certain numbers, then they're confident, week to week. I'm sure they have those numbers hashed out, and that's what I see. And, there's a lot of tradition over on that side, and he's done a good job of maintaining that. And I don't think it's a whole lot different than what Trimble was making a name for Jinx with as well.
Last one, if the Tigers are able to win, what do they got to do to pick up a win against Jinx?
We've got to go play our brand of football. We've got to start fast. We know they're going to. That'll be part of their plan. Can we withstand the wave of whatever their plan of attack is to open the game? And then can we play sound football right out the gate? There's, I think, too often, might be the case of being young, but we'll often feel our way into a game and then settle down and play well. And the intent is that we start that way. I thought we did a good job against Enid of doing that. We came out on opening kickoff, and Giovanni Castillo went down and lit up the returner right away. They got a couple of little runs on us, but then we ended up intercepting the ball, and then immediately offense went down and put points on the board. So that's what we've got to have, is we've got to have a start fast, and then obviously we've got to play sound football for the entirety of the game.
Coach, I appreciate you stopping by on Inside Tiger Football. Remember, we'll have Jinx and Broken Arrow this Friday night on Arrowvision. Madison Dildine will be on the sideline along with Devin Johnson doing color analyst duty in the booth. Until next time, go Tigers.